chance to hear it, so let her tell it. People on the streets say Sabrina speaks. Tune into the show, she will let you know. Tell all your friends and family. Real talk is no joke. You get the news straight up from grassroots and concerns. You hear some people gone. So tell all your friends to tune in to
Good evening, Cayman. I'm Sabrina Turner, and welcome to Sabrina Speaks, your daily dose of clarity, truth, and community insights. Every weekday from 5 to 6:30 p.m., we're tackling the issues that affect you, from national headlines to grassroots concerns. Whether you're in traffic or winding down your day, this is your chance to hear it straight and speak your truth. So buckle up, Cayman. We're not holding back.
This is the show. We gotta let you know. Now we got to go.
And now here's Sabrina.
One and all, I'm still, for some whatever reason, not hearing that intro song, and I'm flying it by the wind. Yeah, you ever heard about doing it by the seat of your pants? I'm doing this in faith. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Sabrina Speaks, Voices of the Islands, Conversations for the World, the podcast where voices rise, stories unfold, and inspiration take center stage. It's good to be back with you on this Tuesday. Going live here. I got those links up for you. Yes, we do. That's gone. So there we go. We are having it. Yes. I'm Sabrina, and I'm broadcasting live from the beautiful Cayman Islands, Monday to Friday from 5 until 7. And yes, whether you're listening from home, work, from the car, even in the kitchen, or maybe you're out tending to those beautiful orchids, or I'm seeing it's Desert Rose Day for some reason. Yes, maybe just sitting back in a hammock, you're on vacation. Well, guess what? If you are tuning in live today, maybe it's your first time, I want to say thank you, because you could be doing so much other things with your time. But I want to say thank you and welcome. It's good to have you with us. But wherever you're from tonight, yes, we're here. We're here, hopefully, for another engaging, informative episode of Sabrina Speaks. And, there's always some takeaways from these episodes, even some that you don't even expect, but they always actually end up leaving you with something to remember. But nevertheless, I am glad that you're tuned in, and I'm glad that we get to have this conversation together. And I love your feedback, your participation, be it, you send me a WhatsApp or you're commenting from Facebook, YouTube, whatever platform you're streaming us on from. I am grateful for you tuning in. But tonight we're talking about something that has pretty much been floating around for a little while. And that is around the world, from every corner, from a conspiracy perspective to even just everyday chat as we go in and we look into this digital platform, and we're hearing more and more of it coming up. And I'm quite sure something you've seen or heard online from other podcaster stations, or like I said, maybe just those corner conversations. You may have been wondering, is there something to this? Or the phrase, there is a phrase, is this big? How will this impact me? Dramatic, something that sounds confusing. And what I'm talking about is exactly what today's episode is entitled: The Global Reset. Now, right here at home, we do things on Sabrina Speaks, and we don't panic. No, we're just bringing the conversation up. But it's amazing. Every time you hear this, you're like seeing people like give you the side eye, or like, oh my gosh, yeah. I've even heard people from, have gone as far as saying it's the mark of the beast. but I'm just hoping that I respect their opinions and all of that sort of stuff. But more and more, I'm seeing it on social media. I'm hearing it in conversations. But we're going to sit down, we're going to breathe, we're going to talk it through a little bit. And hopefully by the end of this, I'll be able to share the perspective from this and engaging with you individually, that we can get a clearer understanding as to what it means. Because when the world starts throwing around big terms, big headlines, big predictions, it's easy to feel overwhelmed. And I'm getting a lot of persons are feeling overwhelmed. They're becoming a bit more walking on eggshells, that type of feeling. And it's not, don't blame yourself for being unsure or feeling unsure. That's how it is. But at the end of the day, I'm hoping that by we finish this conversation and your feedback with what information I've been able to gather, that you will have a better understanding of as to where we're positioned, how we are looking on the global scale, and even constitutionally, how that is going to impact us should we wake up one morning and see it. It's not as dramatic as that. Trust me. Trust me. So we're not going to be floating alone. We're just going to unwrap it segment by segment, break it down in layman's terms. And as we are a British overseas territory, we do have strong constitution, whether or not you feel we wrote it, history has it, it's not our constitution. We've heard our commenters saying that, but there are provisions in the constitution that actually gives us some sort of security, some sort of protection. And we have a stable currency peg as well. But you know what, before we go into that, let me break it down and do that housekeeping part for you. Because the views expressed by callers, our guests, and online commenters are their own and not those of Bridge Media Limited or its affiliates, the host or the Sabrina Speaks show. This program is for general information only and not a substitute for legal, medical, financial, or professional advice. Now, all participants are reminded to speak responsibly and respectfully, and any content that is defamatory, discriminatory, unlawful, or harmful is strictly prohibited and will not be endorsed or tolerated. Now, for those of you who are listening, streaming live on whatever platform you are, continuing implies acceptance of this disclaimer. The number to participate on, should you want to send me a WhatsApp or even call in live and join in on the discussion, is 345-936-8255 is the number to call. And make sure that you continue, I am seeing it, liking, following, and sharing our page with your friends so you're always notified and never miss an episode of Sabrina Speaks right here. As we, yes, you know it by now, I hear some of you repeating it, as we continue to grow here, one episode at a time. But it's that time that we take a look at the weather. Yes, compliments of our friends there, of the Cayman Islands National Weather Service for this evening, letting us know what is forecasted for tonight and into tomorrow. Let's start with the synopsis. The synopsis is calling for residual moisture left behind from a recently passed tropical wave will linger over the Western Caribbean during the next few days as an upper level low gradually moves towards the Yucatan. Atmospheric conditions are expected to become more favorable, enhancing the available moisture and supporting the development of a few scattered showers across near our area. Now, meanwhile, locally thick concentrations of Saharan dust will continue to persist over the Northwest Caribbean as it circulates around the periphery of the high pressure system dominating the region. And as a result, a dust alert is in effect, and radar imagery shows isolated showers in and around the Cayman area moving towards the west-southwest. Now, the forecast for tonight is calling for cloudy, hazy skies with a 60% chance of late showers with some thunder. A dust alert will remain in effect for tonight, and showers will become locally heavy at times. Temperatures will fall near the low 80s and winds will be easterly 10 to 15 knots with higher gusts in and around showers. Seas will be moderate with wave heights of 3 to 5 feet. Now, tomorrow, the forecast is calling for cloudy skies with a 60% chance of showers in the morning with some thunder, improving and clearing from the afternoon. That dust alert will remain in effect and temperatures will rise to the low 90s degrees Fahrenheit with a heat index of near 107. Winds will be east to northeast 10 to 15 knots with higher gusts, and seas will be moderate to rough with wave heights of 4 to 6 feet. Because of that, a small craft advisory will be in effect. There will be a high tide this evening at 10:13 and a low tide at 4:27 a.m. with another high tide at 10:04 tomorrow morning. Sun will set this evening at 7:05 and sun will rise at 5:57. Now, the outlook is forecasted that this Saharan dust to linger over the region through the next few days, bringing along with it hazy and more settled conditions thereafter. Because of that, dust alert will remain in effect through Thursday, and we will keep you updated of that as this becomes readily available from her local sources. Yes, there you have it. I see you all coming in. Yep, slowly but surely. That's okay. Alfred is here. I see you. I see you in my periphery, just like that Saharan dust. Let's take a look at what's making local news headlines here this evening on the Sabrina Speaks show. The Royal Cayman Islands Police Service is seeking public's assistance in locating a wanted man, Joseph Hurlston, age 44 from Bodden Town. Now, Hurlston is described as a tall, about 5.5 feet 9 tall, light brown complexion, slim built, and previously known to have dreadlocks, which he has since cut. Now, he's wanted in relation to multiple offenses, including assault and threats to kill. Police advise the public not to approach him, but to note his location and call 911. Information can also be provided to Bodden Town Police Station at 947-2220 or anonymously through the RCIPS confidential tip line or Cayman Crime Stoppers. The Central Caribbean Marine Institute is extending heartfelt thanks to the Year 6 students at Cayman Prep for their generous donation through the Island Enterprise Project. Now, after completing CCMI's Marine Ecology course this spring, the students chose to support future MEC participants, helping purchase essential in-water equipment so every student can safely explore Little Cayman's marine environment. CCMI says that these hands-on experiences help young people build a real connection to the ocean and inspire the next generation of marine stewards. They are deeply grateful to Cayman Prep for their commitment to education, conservation, and or shared oceans. Other local news making headlines this afternoon, we look at, the Tropical Gardens Omega Leo Club at UCCI has welcomed 2 new members to the Pride. On June 27th, the club proudly inducted Rihanna Bings, sponsored by Leo Antoine Campbell, and Joshua Gilman, sponsored by Leo Amaya McLaughlin. Now, the club says it's excited to see their passion for service and leadership grow as they join the movement and begin contributing to community projects across the island. As we turn our focus this evening over to regional news making headlines this evening, we start with Jamaica, because the Jamaican Urban Transit Company is warning the public about fraudulent online job advertisement circulating on social media. Now, the fake post claims to offer part-time and full-time positions with daily wages of Jamaican 8,000 to 11,000 flexible hours, free training, and other benefits. JUTC says the ad is not legitimate and is urging Jamaicans to verify all employment opportunities only through its official website, jutc.gov.jm, or visit social or verified social media accounts. Now, the company is also encouraging anyone who encounters suspicious job postings to report them. In other regional and international news this evening, we see where Subaru is recalling more than 541,000 vehicles across the United States due to an incorrect label that could cause the cars to fail federal safety standards. Now, the recall affects several models produced in recent years after regulators found that a mislabeled weight rating could lead to improper loading and potential safety risk. Now, Subaru says owners will be notified and dealers will replace the labels at no cost. Drivers, however, can check their vehicle status using Subaru's recall lookup through the NHTSA website. We see where British nationals flying from the United Kingdom to Gibraltar will now be required to pass through the EU's new electronic border system, making one of the latest post-Brexit changes to take effect. Now, the system, which captures biometric data, has been rolled out across the EU external borders and will apply to UK travelers entering Gibraltar from this week. Now, official says the shift reflects Gibraltar's unique position after Brexit, and passengers should expect new checks as part of their journey. I know it's that time of the year and many of us travel. And yep, from ESTA to ETA, yeah, you're wondering, am I in order? Well, it doesn't stop there because we're no longer limited to just Florida. Yes, and as we continue to wrap up this segment of regional and international news, CBS News reports today that the United States House of Representatives has voted to make daylight saving times permanent nationwide, advancing a years-long effort to end a twice-a-year clock changes. Now, the measure would eliminate the switch back to standard time each fall and move supporters say could improve health, safety, and consistency for Americans. Now, the bill now heads to the Senate for further consideration. As this is a developing story, we will definitely keep you abreast of all of that because it makes a difference when you're planning your travel. We look at the business markets closing for today because global markets close mixed today as investors weighed fresh economic data and shifting commodity prices. In the United States, major indices ended narrowly high, with tech stocks helping lift the NASDAQ. European markets were mostly flat, while Asia saw modest gains led by Japan. Now, regionally, Caribbean exchanges reported light trading activity with minor movements across key indices. Oil prices had held steady and gold saw a slight uptick as investors look towards this week's economic forecast. And yes, what a game it was. Here's your FIFA update for this evening. Spain are through to the 2026 World Cup final after defeating France 2-0. Yes, and that's today's game of semifinals. Now, the second semifinal kicks off tomorrow with England facing Argentina to decide who meets Spain in Sunday's championship match. Now, the losing sides will play in the third place game on Saturday, followed by World Cup final on Sunday at MetLife Stadium. For all of you who are excited, and OMG, I was heading into town earlier today and oh my gosh, there was a truck in the front of me pretty much for the entire commute with this huge France flag. Now, look, it's the spirit. Kudos to them. They were flying that flag loud and proud, and I'm so sorry for your defeat. I got no skin in the game. I just love a good match. And that was one of those nail biter games today. And that concludes your news, your weather, international, regional, business, and FIFA roundup for this evening on the Sabrina Speaks platform. Welcoming all of you for tuning in, and it's good to have you join me here again for hopefully what is planned for another exciting episode of Sabrina Speaks as I draw in the images here, because I think my content creators in Bloom today are actually on the same. We're talking about the same wavelength here. But let's say happy birthday to all of those persons who are celebrating birthdays today. Yes, we celebrate with all of you. Happy birthday to you. Wishing you lots of peace and joy and happiness, and definitely many, many more to come. For those who are celebrating anniversaries as well, we send our thoughts and love for you. And yes, wishing you many, many more as well as you continue to count them. Or who counts after a certain amount of time? Nevertheless, happy anniversary. Those celebrating life. Yeah, we celebrate along with you as well. And we are here for you, all of us here on the Sabrina Speaks platform. We cheer you on. Now, we know that there are those out there who are mourning the loss of a loved one. We're just letting you know that our thoughts and prayers go out to you as you navigate this difficult time. And we're a closely knit community. So when one feels it, we all do. Trust me, some way, somehow we're connected. It is that time. Yes, yes, yes. To remind you all of, yes, this is the Department of Agriculture is hosting a dog licensing event. That is this Saturday, July 18th from 7:30 until 11:30. And they are going to be this time at A.L. Thompson's main entrance in Georgetown. Now, there's no need to bring your dog. This is something you need to remember. There's no need for you to bring your dog. Just bring their information and you'll receive your DOA dog tag free of charge. Now, this is a quick, convenient way to stay compliant under the Animals Act. And you're all encouraged to come early, get it done. And their team will be sitting there and waiting there for you from 7:30 until 11:30 on site to assist you with this. Now, this is the key thing. We know some of you have some little pooches, they're little handbags. They're just like your Gucci's, what are those bags that Hallen takes around, whatever they are. Yeah, but that's how close your pets are. For this event, they're saying it right here. There is no need to bring your dog. Okay. I can understand why. But yeah, so this takes place this Saturday at A.L. Thompson's main entrance from 7:30. And that reminds me, I'm always giving you all of these updates. Charity begins at home. I got to go and deal with Chance and Bella. So, yep, I may bump into you down there this Saturday as I go and sort out my 2 four-legged furry friends to get them all updated and in the system. Yes, so good evening, everyone. North Carolina Love was first to comment today. Hello, Marshall. Good evening to you, my dear friend. It's good to have you here with us. Alfred Reed is early. Good evening to you too as well. No, you are not the first to comment. You brute ya. I see your orchids for the day. Oh my goodness, you're something else. I'll get those up in a second. And Donnie is also in the house. Yes, that's Dawn from Green Valley Nursery is in the house. All of you can't miss that sign. Green Valley Nursery is open from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. Monday to Saturday. And all of these beautiful images that Donnie has been sending us, like this, she's sending us some desert rose images today. OMG, these are gorgeous. And yeah, I know that it must be desert rose today because Dawn, you're going to be floored because you need to see the 2 images that Connie Bonnie sent us. Punanunas. Yes. This is not a desert rose though. This looks like an orchid. But let me tell you something. 2 of you are on the same wavelength. You're still on the pattern today because both of you sent me some gorgeous. Now, these are from Dawn, and I'm quite sure over there at Green Valley Nursery, Dawn can help you or give you some tips on how you can get yours into these type of bloom. But yeah, those are from Donnie at Green Valley Nursery, Monday to Saturday from 7 until 4. You can get your hand on some of these. And Connie, yes, good evening to you, my sweet. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous, Dawn? Look at that. And all of you plant lovers out there, look. Oh my goodness. Jeez. Oh, wow. Yeah. These guys are my content creators in bloom, for the record. So Connie just does it for fun. She loves her ornamentals when she's not out of sight in some mango bush. She's been escaping the ticks and the maiden plum and all of that sort of stuff. But these content creators in bloom, they show up every episode and they share with us their beautiful flowers of the day, hoping that it lifts somebody's spirit and puts a smile on your face because, it started off just as a simple idea and has just blossomed into these 2 ladies becoming their own content creators. I call them in bloom here on the Sabrina Speaks. And I want you to know that we appreciate you. And I have been I didn't know Dawn had that. those are pretty. Yeah. So I'm hoping they're actually coming, Donnie, because quite a few people have actually come up to me and said, oh my gosh, beautiful. Sometimes I got to tell them which one's from Dawn, and they will screenshot them. They'll screenshot it from their phone and they'll say, I saw this one. Who was that from? Is that that Connie lady? I says, no, that one is from Dawn. Because gosh, I don't think my memory is that bad. No, because I can remember them. It's amazing how much I can remember when people just randomly come up to me and they show me their phone. And I literally remember who's they're from, because then they come asking, can I buy this one from them? So yeah, very interesting. But yes, and we got Alfred Real joining in on his version of content creation too, sharing with us his version of Orchid. But you may be surprised what he called plants. Yeah, but just see if you can just do these into one shot for me next time, my friend. That makes it a little easier since your orchids are just of a different level. But Damien Henry is also in the house as well. Good evening, all. Damien is saying, stop glorifying exhaustion. Stop chasing every opportunity at the expense of your peace. Learn to rest without guilt. Set boundaries without apology. And choose a pace that allows you to enjoy the life you're working so hard to create. Success means little if it costs your health, relationships, happiness, and a sense of self. Build a life rooted in balance, purpose, and a life that energizes rather than drains you. Well, I don't know my hairdresser. And stop building a life you constantly need to recover from. Damien, thank you so much for that. And I think I'm going to label that one for my Slay crew. There's a lady down there. Her name is Carol. Yeah, we need her to really hear what that has to say. Oh, okay. Well, we got that, Damien. So, oh, you thought it didn't all come through, but it did today, my dear. Thank you so much. Stop building a life. Yep. It all came through. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Alfred Wheel, I feel like a four-legged furry animal. Alfred is saying he feels like a four-legged furry animal after today's meal. Will someone come pet me? I take tummy rubs. Oh, for God's sake, try go sit down. You're not even going to feel that when all of this ethnic fatigue sets into you. So this is what Alfred Real is actually talking about, okay? He's probably in a trance after all of this. So yes, that looks like he started off with a soup. And then this is what? Some seaweed, something. And then this was another part of his appetizer. I'm not convinced that that's the entree, and you will agree with me if I'm on to something. So that's another part of an app, it looks like. And here we go again. That's another app again. And then he went on to this for the entree. Yeah. And there's one more, because then he ate this. There we go. So I don't even know. I'd prefer to just look at him from afar, because after all of this, Alfred, oh my God. Yeah. Yeah. Just looking at this, I'm full. You are something else. But thank you, nevertheless, Alfred. Yep. Connie's laughing. You are more than welcome, my sweet. But see the orchids in the corner of the picture? Yep, I see it. I see it right there. Connie's killing laughter. Oh my goodness. You are just something else. You really need your own comedy stand, to be honest with you. But I ain't taking you on today. Oh no, boo-boo. Yes, I did. By the sushi. I saw it. Beautiful. But it's good. I love this part of the show, to be honest, because it gets us to interact. It gets up into your business, and then you wonder how I know your business. Thank you for sharing it. And should there be somebody else that wants to join in on this little segment, because it's because of you. Look, we were able to do that in half hour, from getting into news to doing the disclaimer, all the housekeeping, welcoming you all. Yeah. I see you, Trouble. There was a statement here, Carol, that Damien Henry, it has you written all over it. That one is for you, because you stress people You know, out. Yeah, and to see me pay for it, to be paid for the abuse. Love you lots, nevertheless. So big up the Slay team down there, all of ya. Even the owner, all of ya. But for those of you just joining us, welcome, welcome, one and all, from all of you near and far. I got a reach out and a big shout out. I don't know, for those of you who follow me on Facebook, I did a post last night on the Norway team having been so well received by their country. And it's amazing how much views alone that is climbing to over almost 9,000 views. And I've got some private messages that came through of persons who were here in the Cayman Islands over the years. One I actually worked with back in the hospital, and that was in the early 90s. And from that single post, it's amazing how much connections were made. And they were like, whoa, we missed the Cayman Islands. And of course, they're going through all of this. And they're like, geez and peace, all of this is happening. And of course, the algorithms pick it up and they just start. But it's amazing. One single post, they flew back home on a airlines called National Airlines, and Flight Tracker had it called Row, Row, Row Airlines. And it was the post that I have. You can go on the Sabrina Turner Community Activist Facebook page. And it was amazing. That 24-hour flight tracker, people were tracking their flight from Fort Lauderdale. And it had over like 100,000 views, or 1,000 people at one point tracking it. That is how much the world has fallen in love with the Norway team. And it's amazing. When they arrived, they had fighter jets, like 2 or 3 fighter jets that escort them. Once they got into the Norway's airspace, they were escorted by fighter jets. And once they landed, they were greeted on the ground by a water salute. They had like some guard of honor meeting for them that saluted them. And they had cocktails, a reception at their king's palace or something like that. But over 90,000 people came out to see them. And it was just amazing how they showed national pride for their football team, have done so well, have honestly captured the heart of the world with the row. And if you don't believe me, you can go and check it on their own Norway sites, or I've made it easy for you. I have captured the image of the plane being escorted by some of these fighter jets. I did a reel as well, and I did a little write-up on it. But it's amazing. It is just amazing what national pride looks like. And just watching how they received their own team coming back, it gave me goosebumps, to be honest, because like I said, I'm not a football person. I never really followed football. This is the first time at 52 that I have even followed these games like this. But based on the feedback that I'm getting, boy, they have won the hearts of the world as we come into the semifinals of the FIFA World Cup 2026. Norway is still on people's minds, and it's just something that has won over the world. So yeah, but go on to the Sabrina Turner Community Activist page, the Facebook page, and look at the reels. You'll see it. I posted it last night, and it's just amazing, the national support that came out there. But I got messages from friends and stuff, coworkers, and of course they had to ask because I had a surname change since. And it's how we can connect just by one simple post. I've met and connected with previous coworkers and friends along the way who were living here, and the views continue to climb. So I'm going to watch it and see really how far it's going to go. And it just goes to show how sports can bring you together in so many levels. And they didn't win. They didn't win the World Cup. But I tell you what, they won the hearts of the world. Miss Joyce Ann is here. How are you? Good evening, stranger. Always good to have you jumping in on the live, my sweet. And I hope you're doing well, taking it one day at a time as we continue to navigate life. And I know you hold, but I behave myself. And my fingers not crossed and they're not behind my back. So yeah, if you're checking in, if I'm behaving, yeah, I'm doing my best. Well, for those of you jumping on the live at this time, and you're in tune to Sabrina Speaks, and today I'm going to break it down for you. What I want to go into is something that we consider or could be looked at as rather important in a conversation that is being taken place and happening globally. And it's happening right now. The idea of a global, what I'm talking about is the idea of global financial reset. Yeah, don't get scared. And what it truly means for us here at home. But before we dive into that, into what that global reset actually is, I just would like to just, caution persons, because this is not about being dramatic or even intimidating. If you've heard it in passing or even seen it on social media, if you heard other commentary, right? All around the world right now, people are talking about currency changes, digitizing of money, cashless societies, shifting of economies, you're hearing it. And countries are honestly rethinking how they trade and even settle their debts. We're talking big countries, right? And when you hear the phrase like reset or revaluation, it's easy for the imagination, honestly, to run wild, especially if you're not understanding it totally. But tonight, it is my aim to not deal with rumors. I've been looking at this, I would say, for over 3 weeks. And I want to deal with it from an informative standpoint, not from fear. And putting the Cayman context into it, because my goal, honestly, is simple. And that is to make sure that we understand this topic in plain language, just like how we did the discrimination versus against human rights yesterday. I wasn't expecting to go into anything hard hitting. I want this to be free flowing for the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks before I go on a 1 week holiday. And of course, the phone lines are open. You can always weigh in on it. And should there something be pressing you, but I can't just show up here without nothing to say and just ramble on. I like to have things where each episode persons can take away. And if there's something that sparks a episode, I will actually bring it up here, but I want to do some background checks as well. But I don't want anyone to be confused at all after this, because at the end of the day, we as the Cayman Islands is not just watching global events from the sidelines, You put that into context. We're part of the global financial system. And we are, yes, a British Overseas Territory jurisdiction, and we have a stable currency peg. We have constitution protections as well, and we have one of the strongest financial sectors in the world. That's something that we need to be really proud of. So before I go any further, I just wanted you to just understand and be grounded in that context, setting the tone, reining you in case you just joined us. But I want you to engage and understand where I'm coming from is not from the perspective of panic. No, I'm breaking it down based on the research that I've done and setting the foundations and just letting you know where we're going to take this from today. But again, your feedback is always welcome. I know many of you may be in the financial sector. Many of you may know much more than what I was able to unearth from trusted sources. I welcome your feedback. You can do it anonymously by WhatsApping with what I'm actually trying to deliver here, because I respect and I enjoy your participation and your feedback as we actually continue to learn here, like one episode at a time. Yes. Okay. Oh, you didn't say anything, you brute. Well, good. Thank you so much, Miss J. Love you from the bottom of my heart. Yep. Too much for me to read, my friend. Context matters. I'll read that afterwards, but thank you for sharing. Let's look at really, is to just get us started. Like I said, the phone number is 345-936-8255 should you want to jump in on this conversation. But just let's go a little bit back first so that we understand and ask the big question, what exactly is a global reset? Based on my findings and for the context of this episode, when people hear that term, reset, the mind literally jumps straight to the extreme. Yeah, chaos. They see it in their heads, chaos being in the streets, government scrambling to sort things out. And Cayman, that's not what a global reset is. Contrary to what you may see, think, when you look at it, a global reset is not a collapse. It is not a wipeout, so to speak, because at first I thought until I started digging into it. And it's not even an overnight shockwave that erases your savings or even frees all of your accounts. Okay? A global reset. And yes, I'm going to be referring to some of my notes here, just so that I keep making sure I'm not sharing foolishness with you, but because I did my research. A global research is simply a coordinated restructuring of how the world's financial system actually operates. Think of it like updating the operating system on your phones. You know, sometimes you just can't get it. You're getting calls, but your phone's not ringing. Messages are delayed, or some are not even coming in. And somewhere in the background, something is running and you got to update it. Yeah. The phone doesn't disappear. Your photos don't even vanish. Your apps don't explode. The system just gets recognized, modernized, and what they call recalibrated. That's, in a nutshell, what a global reset is, or a recalibration. And what triggers that? You may say, oh, it's the end of the time. It's all to get control. It's the mark of the beast. Okay, let's stick to what I found. Now, there are other sides to this coin based on what you subscribe to, based on what your beliefs are. And like I said, I'm just giving it to you based on what I found. But I welcome the flip side of this, of course, once you can provide the background evidence to support whatever it is you're going to counter. And I just love when I share information that we're just not arbitrarily throwing information out. What really triggers this is that you see global debt. When you see global debt getting too high, countries owe, or meaning countries owe more than they can realistically repay. We're going into what triggers the reset. We see currencies themselves start losing strength. We see inflation. You always hear about this. Inflation rises and purchasing power then drops. Your money doesn't give you the distance that it used to anymore. Inflation. What can cause or trigger global resets is new global powers emerging. You hear geopolitics constantly be used. Countries like China, India, and the BRICS push for new systems. These things can trigger a global reset. And also, what can trigger them is digital currencies evolving. Central banks begin testing digital versions of their money. And trade systems also shifts. And we see nations starting trading outside of the US dollar. Look at what's happening in the region. Yeah. When all of these pressures then build up at the same time, the word says, all right, let's recognize this. Something's going on. What's happening here? And my friends, in a nutshell, that's a reset. When that actually happens, that can change the way countries settle international payments, change even the value of certain currencies, and it can also change how global trade is priced. And guess what? It can change as well the digital money that is integrated. But here at home in Cayman, hear me clearly, a reset doesn't mean that our bank accounts disappear. And here at home, it doesn't mean that your money becomes worthless overnight either. And let me let you know, it doesn't mean chaos. Resets are structured. Resets are also coordinated. And that's why if you're those people in the industry, you know I'm not talking no foolishness here this evening, because you're beginning to see certain changes because you're dealing with people from all over the world. Resets, my friend, are planned. Let's go to the phone lines. Good evening, caller. You're live on Sabrina Speaks. What's on your mind?
Good evening. Here I am, like the little lamb, mere little lamb.
Good to have you join us.
Listen, reset, everything in this world really has to do with people. And reset comes again from people. The decline of a dollar comes because of people, what they see, and they decide to base their life around what they're seeing. A lot of people, they see what's going on in the world, they decide to hold on to their money. And when people hold on to their money and the money's not circulating, then that's a problem. That's why the US dollar declined. Like it goes up and down. And even reset comes from tourism also. We get the reset that people, okay, they don't travel as much because of the fear of whatever and what's going on. And sometimes you can't blame them, right? And when that stops, then that stops another section of the economy in a man's country. So one company can rise and one can be doing a reset more than the whole world, right? Sometimes a reset in another man's country is a gain in another man's country. And I say that to say, like, even now, if you look here, the economy has dropped in the US. It will, because it's not Americans that has kept America. It's foreigners, really. Cubans, Jamaicans, all worldwide, the people has. If the people are not here, the America have to reset, because the money that used to flow through this country is no longer flowing through. And then when people stop coming to America for vacations, they decide to go to Cayman, Jamaica, other Caribbean, St. Lucia, wherever, Guyana, Trinidad, for vacations. You might realize that those that live in there is getting the feedback from America Reset. So really and truthfully, all reset, it comes through us human beings on a whole. Yes, some of what is happening in Revelation, we see it, and the Bible says it's going to be fulfilled. But not everything in there also is just biblical. So some of this is not also biblical. Biblical has a lot to do with it, and others is that people are watching. Because if I see the boat sinking and I realize I'm on that boat, I'm going to try to get off of that boat. I am going to take what I have off of that boat with me. So if I take that, and that was in the economy, and then you see and you take that, it has to be a refocus in that country, because when we don't take out what we have, that decline affects that person, country, whatever. So refocus doesn't mean that people are broke. Sometimes they're just cautious.
And they
And then
avoid certain
other
areas that are just showing
exactly,
volatility. They're not stable. Yeah. Like the
exactly,
BRICS, which I'll go into that.
exactly.
We're even seeing our brothers and sister CARICOM countries that are coming together. But you're quite right. As close as Canada is to the US mainland, there are reports out that they have stopped going to the United States.
Yeah,
They're tourists.
and
That what has bring a big uplift to the US right now is these FIFA 2026 games. But outside of that,
yeah,
I think you would be floored at really how much people are going or finding alternate routes of doing business. And it's you're onto something. You're quite right.
and you can't blame people. You understand me? You'll be a fool unless you get it for pennies at this time, because a lot of people that have gotten rich, that's how they get rich. When the economy is down and the house market drops and all of these things, people get afraid and they sell. Even when the market is down, a house that used to be 500,000 is now 275,000. So somebody that has the money that know it will not stay down forever, and they can hold on because they, because I mean, I'm going to lose, but at least I don't owe it. But sell that and get 100,000 and take with me because I owe 200,000. So some people offer refocusing, some get rich and some get poorer. Is in anything most of the time. So if somebody could afford to hold on to something and they seize, because a lot of people, you got to have a vision. And if you don't have the Bible tells you the lack of vision, the people perish. But
And
then
the
if you,
lack of knowledge too. And this is why it's so important for us to
exactly,
have these conversations. We're not coming on here as no experts, but the information is right there at our fingertips. You can
it's
connect
there.
one story at a time. You can connect it together and see exactly how there is a domino effect, how there's a ripple effect. And even though something may be happening into the EAU or the United Emirates, over there, over in that
Yeah,
side of the world,
yeah,
eventually
yeah.
it impacts us over here in the western part of the hemisphere.
And you can't blame. So we have to. The Caribbean is a powerful. We don't know the power that we have. The Caribbean don't realize the power. If we come together, we will be a powerful nation, and we won't really need. Because let me tell you, a lot of our growth, like things that is in America, they're grown in the Caribbean and shipped to America, right? So when they're grown and they're shipped there, we the same ones be buying them here and they're shipped. Most of these things are come in boxes: green banana, plantains, coffee, rice, that you name it. Look and see most of where the resources are and where they come from. Now, if we get together and we decide we're going to stick together, we would be powerful. But most of the time, we don't work together. You understand? And
Interesting that
that's
you say that, because it and I'm going to put a picture up on the front here to show you how the CARICOM countries, because we're associate member, we're not a full state member because we're a British Overseas Territorial Jurisdiction, but it aligns with exactly what you're saying. And this just happened. And this, my friends, that I have here on the screen is a group of, these are CARICOM leaders. And what they have met on and both all come together, as Miss Joyce has said here, is that they're moving forward, listen with this, with new measures to help ease the rising cost of living across the region, Caribbean region, right? Coming out of their recent meeting, which was the 51st regional meeting of heads of government, leaders outlined at this meeting steps such as reducing taxes on fuel and essential goods, advancing regional, listen to this, ferry service to cut transport costs, expanding renewable energy to stabilize electricity prices, and strengthening consumer protection. Now, at the same meeting, and those groups, those people at that in this picture, they also committed to improving access to affordable regional health care. And they made a pact, an agreement to focus on delivering real tangible benefits for their Caribbean people.
Yeah.
So you're singing exactly what's happening right now in real time. And these Caribbean CARICOM leaders are actually doing all of this to try and bring it, but they're also looking at other ways, looking at other jurisdictions to do business with as well, which ties into the topic at hand.
Yeah, it is. And as I keep looking and seeing, we have everything, but because we so long believe in America and elsewhere, that we take our focus off of what we could do. When we were locked down in COVID for 2 years, we survived, right? That's an example of that we have survival skills, but only if we're forced to have them that we use them. And I think we should start using them, because the way that we have been treated, and not just us, the world. We come here, we spend thousands of dollars. They rent cars, they do hotel, they buy clothing, they go to Red Lobsters. So it's so much benefits of us traveling here from all over the Caribbean that we don't just affect one place, we affect everything in America.
But even labor, how much tons of strawberries and different vegetables and fruit were destroyed this year because they did not have the manpower to harvest the crop. You think we're not going to feel that?
Look here. So they have to refocus. Look at this. I go to get my car fixed. You're all over the place trying to get your car fixed. Can't get it fixed. Oh, everybody run away, boy. They run away. I don't have but one worker, and I got too much work.
Are you kidding?
No, I'm serious. This is so. And you see people taking on people and giving them incentives. Maybe if they come on, they get 5,000 and they have to sign something. It's happening and it's here. And this is just to show you the shortage.
And that's here as in the United States, not here as in Cayman directly. Okay, just for context.
No. Yeah. And this is just to show you how powerful we are. So they're feeling it. So they have to refocus. I've known so many people that have packed up and have left the United States. I know so many more that are packing up to leave, because what is going to be the benefits? So you have to refocus, because even after Social Security, they're saying, I can't remember how many years I will have to go back to see. It's not going to be no Social Security. So people is now saying that. So all of these years that I have worked,
you're paying in.
What am I going to get? So all of this makes people decide, look here, I got to save something and I got to do this and I got to do that. So it affects people, affects the world. The world doesn't move. The world can't do anything. It's the people in the world.
But it takes unity and understanding and education. Because if you are aware, if you can identify some of these things, you're better inclined to prepare. You're better to see certain impacts coming, because there are signs of a reset that are already happening. There are signs.
The signs are loud and clear. I have a friend that I didn't even know. These Caymanians, her daughter and her son, they refuse a visa to go to school. Now, her father, the father's in an excellent job in the government. The mother, excellent. These people is grounded. The kids is good kids. So they had to end up going somewhere else. Do you know when those children get used to not coming to America, many of our kids is not going to come like we used to come. It have a stigma.
Because it's a different generation as well. So that's going to be implanted.
Exactly. Exactly. And they're planting things in the kids' head. And these kids will find other places to go. I see them going other places now. Panama, or, you see
Oh,
them,
it's funny
and
that
they're
you said
flying.
that. Yeah, a lot of persons. Our national flag carrier, Cayman Airways, has put in additional flights to Panama because the demand, and people are actually enjoying holiday in Panama more.
Yes, and I've been telling people this for years. Panama is cheaper. America isn't cheap anymore.
I've even seen people
When
have
you put
gone to Europe. We're having our people that are just going beyond right now. And a lot of persons are going to Europe. A lot of our locals this summer have traveled beyond the United States and Canada.
they have, they have, and let me tell you, it's not cheap either. Like hotels and this and that. Because what happened when the hotels is there? Some of them got 100 rooms, and they only have rent 20% of that for the whole year, nearly. You know what light is, water, all of these things,
Mhm.
stuff. So they have to refocus, and it come back down to who's running your country. That's why the other day I'm not going with no this one, that one, because I like no one. I am going with who's going to run my country anywhere I am, and it's for the people and the benefit of people. I see the young lady there, Perlina. I see she's done some great things that I applaud her for. No, she's with PPM. No, but she's done what she's done. I applaud her as an individual working for a company. So if somebody is into another and they're doing something, I'm going to applaud him. And this is where we have to get, because guess what? We need people that is looking out. When people go away this summer and they can bring in her, whenever you start $800 worth of stuff, and two parents can go, that's $1,600 worth of stuff for their kids for the summer.
It's actually
You know how much
$1,000 for summer and Christmas, and then it goes back then. And what used to be 500 will now be 8. So for the summer, it's
okay.
$1,000.
Could you imagine? That's $2,000. They could come. They could buy the kids school free, things free of cost, almost like,
But
right?
some
'Cause
of
they're
those
not
things,
paying.
anyhow, like books and certain school supplies, are outright duty free. So
Yeah, they are. But
that's
all of
saved
the
and apart
panties,
from
the
the
shoes,
yeah.
yes, the panties, the shoes, the laptops, and all of this. And that's the next thing, right? Laptops really for parents and what they should be free, duty free anyway, because most country, even to Jamaica, it's duty free. And we in Cayman also, we need these things. Listen, people going like Cayman rich, it rich for who we let in, but most of our own natives,
Hmm.
they having it hard. It ain't easy. And we're the last to be looked upon. I'm sorry, but it's the truth. So if somebody's in the house and they are now rooting for us, you got to root for them. Forget about which part are they in right now. When you go, you put back in that one. Yeah, tell them to get the government you want, right? And that is why you see most of the time a country mashup. If you're going to stick with a man that juke you in your back and kick you and thing because he's whatever, and he not doing nothing for you, listen, I getting off the ship. I don't know about nobody else. And we have to go back. So all of this go through politics and politics and people refocusing. It's all people. The world is people. So we have to stay focused. And that's why they're refocusing, because when business used to make 3 million and they're making 300 now, what are they going to do?
Mm-hmm. They're going to reset. They're going to re-strategize. They're going to do whatever it takes in order to rebound. And that's no different with nations and countries and governments. You got to keep afloat. You got to do whatever. You adjust your sails accordingly.
Yeah, exactly. And this is why some people will not survive and some will again. If you say if the government not looking out and helping their people, and they have a small business and they don't have no money put down and they're depending on resales, right, to go back and stuff. If they light bill so high and then the water so high and the little money they make, they spend it on the lights and the water, what are they going to buy goods with?
Disposable income is no more, and savings, forget it. Because
Okay.
we import inflation. We're a service-based economy. We're seeing where all of these things happen. And this whole thing about us being stable and making sure we get the right information out there as it pertains to this big reset is what inspired this conversation.
That's right. And listen to me. I don't care where I travel. At the end of the day, my navel spring, navel is buried somewhere in Cayman. I think it's Song Road.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want to see my country go down. I don't want to see my people suffering. And that's why I am happy when you're out here educating the people, because they need to realize and they need to hold on too, because other people hold on, do what is necessary until you see spending your own country if you can find something reasonable, because what you're doing, you're keeping the money
In-house.
floating.
Yeah.
Exactly. Because we already got so many people that are taking the money out of
Remittance
the
services
country.
is out, but it is, my love. I heard just today how much persons are actually leaving. And not, they are leaving. And some businesses too have adjusted their sales, sales as in virtual sales, in how they even invest because of these change in markets. With the BRICS, you see where, and for those, when you hear me using this acronym, just give me 1 second, Colin. Let me just explain this. When you hear me talk about the reset is already there and there are signs, you may have heard BRICS countries that are building non-United States dollar trade systems. That is creating alternatives to the US dollar for international trade. Let me break that down for you. When I say BRICS, that is a group of major emergency countries. And right now we see Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa that have come together, working to build alternative financial systems to reduce their reliance on the US dollar. So that is one of the hints. That's one of the signs that the reset is already happening. And it is exactly some of the things what Miss Joyce here, the caller on the line, is actually alluding to. It is here. Caller?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So what she's saying is not wrong. We see where central banks now are. Guess what? You hear me doing the business market reports? We're seeing where central banks are buying gold at record levels. That's commodities. Gold is stability assets, and you're having countries buy it when preparing for change. So when you hear me give all of these stock markets closing, eventually I will make reference back to them to make it tie in to a specific subject. We see digital currency pilots in major economies, the US, UK, EU, China. They're all testing digital versions of their currencies. Right here in the Cayman Islands, we have legislation right now and businesses opening, doing trades in different currencies. It's already here. Changes are already coming.
It's starting. It's here. And it got to be, right? At the rate things are going, it have to be.
Mm-hmm.
And the next thing, right? I know a lot of people is gonna whatever me for this, but our neighbors is Jamaica, right? And not just because I'm there. Jamaica and Cayman has had a bond. Yes, we got some bad ones.
Mm-hmm.
And we do have some good ones, and we've had some good ones, right? We shouldn't be so separated, because in the times when we had nobody, we were one. We used to use the dollar. I remember I used to go down to the place on the waterfront where they have the fish market. When the boat come in, I bought the stuff from there, the food and this and that. I always did. Milo and green bananas and plantains and whatever. And, we have paid back. I tell them all the time, we did pay our dues back because we have allowed a lot to come, got a lot of homes and everything, right? But we should never be fighting, we should really not fight, because let me tell you something. We're going to need, all of the Caribbean going to need one another. If we're going to decide to stand strong, we're going to need one another. And I think we should start standing. That's why when I see some of them, like you say, because we're British, but we're still Caribbean. We're still Caribbean people. And we can only do so much because we're a territorial area. But we can still support our Caribbean people. And we should support our Caribbean people. Yeah? Because when you look on life, first of all, we really don't hardly get much out of America. America don't really have any resources, not a lot. Even the cars that you see, they are made in Germany, Japan, China. They're assembled in America. Yeah? Besides like GMC and Ford, majority of them are in Mexico and the other countries I just called. That's where they are. And these other countries already feeling the blunt of how they've been treated
But this
and
is
does not want.
But that's why they have to be careful when they're imposing different tariffs, because that has a spin-off effect.
Exactly.
You're biting the hand that's feeding you.
Exactly. So right now, the people, you don't know why they're refocusing. They're looking other avenues, right? They're looking other areas. That's how we end up with the Japan cars in Cayman. They came walking. I remember my brother and I used to sell cars right there in front of Mr. Larry, tire place. They started to come out and they walk and they give cards. And one of the first person to take them up, because my brother said he refused because they're not built properly. And he wouldn't take any. And Tuna Toys was the first one that started to pick up and, bring into the Japanese cars and whatever. But that they had refocused because of what the cars is coming here, and people saying, oh, but those cars are made directly for the market, so they have to bring them up to the standard. Right. So really and truthfully, that's where they're coming from. These cars that we think that is manufactured in America is manufactured elsewhere. So most of the things America needs others. That's who they need. And if others decide, listen, we're done. We cannot be bothered, and we get together. Listen, man, they'll be looking to come to us. Yeah. They'll be looking to come to us.
But it's all a delicate balance. And it just drives home the point that I have been saying here on earlier episodes, that no country can sustain themselves or operate efficiently, especially if you're a service-based economy, without imported labor. Because there are just some jobs that your own natives will not do. And that is what we're seeing right now happening across the United States and also other regional jurisdictions right here in the Caribbean. We have the people of Barbados that are shouting out. Yeah, because they're like the pace in which they're growing, which is helping fund their economy. They're saying, look, we don't have the people producing that fast enough in order to keep up with the service-based economy that they're becoming. And they're importing more people, and the people their natives are lashing out. It's taken away from their access to homes, even the rental market, because a lot of them now, crop over is coming, and they're going into Airbnbs. And they now are finding themselves in a deficit of houses and access for houses, not picking on Barbados by any means, but of course, because I do news regionally, I see certain trends that are like, oh boy, are we losing people to other regional countries? And then why are we losing them? And when did the loss, or why did when did those decisions become a reality? Because these shocks are not going to be felt immediately. And this is running in parallel with the fact that global reset is already in its beginning stages. And people are going to continue to move in order to survive. That's what human beings does.
Look here, Americans move out America. Born Americans, half of them gone. A lot gone to Costa Rica. Well, we have some there, Panama.
I know of
Part of the
people who are
main goal.
looking at retiring in Panama right now, our very own locals
Okay.
are weighing their
So,
options in Panama.
so that is what I'm telling you. That's where focusing. The people are ready,
Mhm,
started to
mhm.
refocus. And
To
it's been going
reset.
on for a long time.
Mhm,
Yes, and reset. So when you see, sometimes it's the fool that catch off guard. Most of the time, it's a fool that said. But then you see the fools that do understand because they're not really a fool. Sometimes they don't know. So this is why I appreciate your show and Mal Road. Also, yours is a more educational, but appreciate it because we have to help those that doesn't understand what is about to take place,
mhm,
what is happening, and how they can help themselves. Yeah, so
mhm.
that when it comes, they too are prepared because we are our brother's keepers. If they're not prepared, they will become a burden to who and to
Mhm,
how.
mhm.
Yeah.
And we
So
have to,
we,
but it's striking a delicate balance even with our national budget. We hear the needs of our people. We got proven local data that proves we are growing, we are living longer, but that's not living longer healthy. Get where I'm coming with that?
right.
That's living longer that you could have non-communicable diseases. You have those not STDs, oh God, like the diabetes, the blood pressure, the renal end stage renal disease, and all that sort of stuff, right? That could
Yeah.
make your quality of life become very
Yeah.
expensive and cause you to spend all of your life savings just for having some sort of treatment or access to treatment. We have heard it. We have seen the signals here. And yes, repetition is worthwhile in this for this context. How long can we sustain it if we have the real and honest conversation? Which is why it is so important that our country is able to balance a national budget and be realistic with the expectations of what they're supposed to do, how they're supposed to deliver, and that making sure that that's calibrated where your people feel as though, hey, it's working for me as well. But it's bigger than what one can honestly just wrap their head around because you're competing globally as well. Somebody has to pay
You
for
are.
all of that.
You have always, it's always somebody to pay. And this is what I,
Caller?
yes.
Okay.
No, I'm saying somebody always have to pay. And it's so unfortunate most of the time. It's those that are not prepared, the ones that pay. Yeah. And that's why we find the same ones in the same problem most of the time. And this is come back to our politicians and politicians that they need to be out there and helping those people that put them in. Yeah. And showing them the ropes, right? Educating them. But you see, a lot of time, nobody want to educate them because guess what? They won't fool them when the next election comes. So we need to educate them. So when the next election comes, everywhere, that's not just Cayman, that the people will understand, like in Jamaica, anywhere else, that the people will understand what it is they're fighting for. We don't fight for a person, fight for your country, your children, your island. And that is what I believe in. And not because you were on there, but that's where I saw your heart going. And that's why I was with you. And if you was not doing it, I too would have stepped back from you because
Mm-hmm.
I knew somebody that I gave my vote to a couple of times. And when I saw, I was like, you couldn't even get one string for me, not even a stroke. And I choose that, and I stick with that. And everybody sometimes can't because they have them, not allow him to learn to fish. They keep giving them the fish,
Mm-hmm.
but they got to realize the fish only come in the times when election or before election, and so forth. So all of this has to be reset because it's going to affect the whole world because others are already reset. So many people has already reset.
They've already
People has
started
put
to
things-
move at pace, but
Yeah.
yeah, and at the end of the day, sometimes and you said it earlier, and look how fitting it's slipping in right now. For the lack of knowledge, your people will perish. If we don't
Yes.
continue to explain in layman's terms, like some of these legislative changes, especially like in the financial sector, that goes over a lot of people's heads when we're doing some of these legislative changes. Do you realize how much people came to me when I was going over one bill, something with the financial services, and we were talking about blockchain and different cryptocurrency and monetary authority? There was one episode that I went in deep dive in, and people were just floored that that was actually happening here. And we had a couple persons call in to say, well, I bank with a certain financial institution and I wanted to jump in early on this. We had more than one caller. And my bank blocked me from using my money, but because it was facilitated through their financial institution, they stopped me from doing business with the cryptocurrency, despite we having legislations here that makes it legal. It is registered. We have the necessary legislation. So it's not like we are not trying to, but even some of the structures that we have are blocking our very own natives from getting into or participating accordingly. And again, I repeat it, for the lack of knowledge, our people shall perish. So we have all of this
Look
thing
here.
where digital transactions are happening, but it's almost like your own are blocking you from participating in something that we have laws around it. So why is that the case? And this is where I can see conspiracy theories coming in, because it makes it say it is, okay, see, that's a control. You're thinking this digital ID is not control, but I can see why that is coming into the picture.
Well, you see, come and tell you what happens. When someone tries to block, someone's going to watch it and they're going to do what you call reset. Everything in life is real or reset. Well, let me give you an example. When Flow was Cable Wireless and they were there, and at first I understood their prices because, as I said, they build that from scratch. They have to go through the hills, the valleys, they set up all the poles, they do everything. And it was a lot of manpower. It's not like today that is actually a lot of technology.
Mm.
When they saw where the world was going, they didn't reset. And that's when digital came in and take over. Okay, so when cable wires were there and they realized that they could now charge people less because now they don't have 50,000 people that work worldwide. They only have 10 because now things is breaking down to a SIM card. They should have decided, okay, for me to stay in this market and keep majority of my shares, I'm going to drop my prices. I'm going to come down because now I could afford to come down. I couldn't before. And you come up and you make people understand why you had to charge. So they Digital saw the opportunity to come and reset the market. So they jumped in, offered whatever,
Competitive
and then
rates and people a choice.
and yes, and then Flow decided to. So people say, "Oh, so you can do it now," but where they went wrong and where they didn't educate the people that before they had no resources. They didn't have all these backhoes and excavators digging holes back then. Man was digging them holes to put posts in and cutting down trees to make like pole, and you understand, all physical work. So the prices was much higher in order to pay the people that were doing all of the work and the operational expenses and all of this. So again, this is why many a times you're going to continue to see people having to either close down, reset, just like the world is, because everything depends on people. Everything in this world depends on people. And when people see and they have a vision, They come in and they reset things. And the people are going to go with them most of the time. They're going to be a few. A few. Look at Air Jamaica. I used to tell the Jamaicans to travel Air Jamaica. They say, yeah, but Cayman Airways give you more than Air Jamaica. Now, this is the national airline. They say the tickets is cheaper.
Mhm.
And then they say the people behave so badly on the air that they wouldn't go. So what happened? They went out the market, right? Cayman Airways reset. And Cayman Airways need to reset now because some of them prices that they have, they need to reset now before somebody come in and take that because we're close. And I know that some of the taxes are high, but see what you can do and work together with Jamaica. Tell the government, we got so many people, you know they're coming home. Every weekend somebody's coming. This is a market. Let us work together to see what we can do for the people where taxes is concerned. And this is what I'm talking about, to work together in the Caribbean.
Our national
Because
flight
some
carrier
people-
is bringing your people home. So work with us on the
Yeah,
taxes that Cayman Airways, the Cayman
exactly.
Islands have no
Exactly.
control over. These taxes are paid by, are charged and set by the destinations, not by the Cayman Islands government or the carrier. So I see where
Exactly.
you're going for context in case some people don't understand how the taxes are.
Okay, but look here now. Okay, somebody else come in now with a plane and they go, Cayman never went in and asked the same thing like I just did with Flo and Cayman Wireless. And they go in and they go to the government, Jamaica, and say, listen, I want you to help me. I'm going to give the people better rates. And when they come home, they spend money. You understand? They spend it
But they're
in the
bringing
island.
everything. They're sending it
And
through
yes,
remittances anyhow. Very little is staying
exactly.
here. Yeah.
Right. So if you work with me, I can give them better rates. They're home more often and once a year. Why don't you cut down on the taxes where the airport taxes and some of this taxes here and let us work? Okay. And the government decide to. And they come in and they now have tickets that you have for 400, for 250. Where your people gonna go? You say they're gonna go over there. And then when they go over there, now you're going to try to drop yours to 250. Go in before. Go in before. Talk with the people. See. And educate people because people don't understand why the tickets are so
They
expensive
don't.
going to Jamaica.
They don't. Mhm.
So make them know that it's all the taxes. Right now, that's why the plane don't go to Montego Bay. It's not Cayman Airways
It's
don't
not
want to
value for
go.
money. They don't have the load, so it's not worth. Yeah.
Exactly. So this is what I'm saying. So the people a lot of time don't understand. Let them understand. Fill them in. Even to them could go to their representatives and say, listen, I work there and my auntie and this and one, we looking for them to help because, whatever, because that's what they do. They go to the rep and the rep take it higher.
Mhm.
So it's all people working together. But anyway, it's always nice to breathe in and breathe out.
Yes. Thank you so much
And
for your
and
input.
yes, my darling, but reset is going on. You on target, my
It's
darling.
happening. It's
You are
happening.
yes. And I just want my people to be rated when the reset is taking place, that they too have reset. And you wouldn't understand how it is even to save on $10 every month if you don't save no more. Somebody stopped smoking cigarettes, and in 3 years, the money they had put down from buying cigarettes, they had a down payment for their house.
Mm-hmm.
And got a house. So it looks simple and it looks like nothing.
But how
you'll be
you save it now
surprised.
is another thing. It's diversifying how you save with all of this, because even though we're pegged to the US currency, like you rightfully say, should countries going to other boycotting or just going around it, diversifying who they do business with, it could be an advantage for us. There is pros and cons of it. But again, we are a British Overseas Territories jurisdiction. There are constitutional laws in there that somewhat shields us. And I am quite sure, with us being a financial jurisdiction, that our people in the industry are wide awake However, what is ironic is that in speaking to, I was at a location today, and I actually was saying what the topic was going to be about. And it's amazing the response that I got back from an individual. And they looked at me as though they were saying, well, I'm telling you, we're seeing it already with our clients. And
Yeah.
lo and behold, I was just talking about what my topic was going to be, putting it into perspective. And they are directly managing portfolios in a financial industry. And they have seen the behaviors of their clients that have portfolios here in this jurisdiction, that they're doing different changes and modifying, making certain adjustments because of what's happening in the world. But they're doing certain things here that could impact how they operate their business here in the financial industry. And people we are feeling slightly, this is not panic, but what I'm saying is I was able to get validation from someone who is well-placed in a financial institution here that deals with a lot of overseas persons.
Yes.
So, yep. But it's at the end of the day. But thank you so much for your contribution. It's always a pleasure hearing your voice and always having you participate here on the platform. We appreciate you.
Appreciate you more.
Thank
Have
you.
a good evening all.
You too, my love.
Bye.
Take care.
Okay, darling. Okay, bye.
Bye-bye. Andrew was weighing in while that caller came in there, and I'm sharing this with you, but just for those of you who may have missed it because you're trying to keep up with my caller and the back and forth with the discussion. And I want to thank her for weighing in on it because she's hit a lot of the realities on the head, even though it ties and it actually ties into exactly what we're talking about. We see where Andrew is saying China was GM's biggest market. Billions were made. Now China turned the tables as the biggest electric car maker in the world, upsetting Tesla. America owes 38 trillion to countries. China owes about half of the US debt. And Andrew also weighs in and saying Cayman Islands has to start growing their own food and become more self-resilient. Energy from alternative sources. We are in for a serious ride. Andrew also says that the three main things we need is food, energy, and water. That acronym, FEW, F-E-W. But, at the end of the day, people misunderstand this reset, as Ms. Joyce Ann was actually speaking about and what she alluded to earlier on. And because of all that we're seeing out there, there's just a flood of information that continues to come in. People mix facts with fear. They mix the real with the global trends. And then there is this security as we bring it into the local context because of our very own structure, our stability that we have established, that we have worked hard for. We have gotten beaten. We have gotten battered for legislations. We have even heard some upsets from the political space. They were giving too much information away. But they're doing everything based on what information and I guess what they're seeing, forecasting and trends in order to preserve and protect one of our major pillars of bringing in income into the Cayman Islands, and that is our financial industry. Yeah, they have to do what they have to do where protecting us is concerned. And should there be a reset, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. We are maybe a small island development state, but because we are not just another small island in the Caribbean, we, the Cayman Islands, is a financial powerhouse. That is something that we really need to be proud of, because us being a British Overseas Territory citizen is a jurisdiction that is built on stability, structure, and definitely strategy as well. And as I said earlier on, when the world shifts, Cayman doesn't have to wobble, and we don't wobble. No, we have maintained steady. Thank God. Thank God. We don't panic. Again, thank God. And that is something that we have to continue in order to remain standing firm and navigating, but it doesn't mean that we need to fall asleep at the wheel. Because what's happening in real time, geopolitically and otherwise, as we see where other countries are moving around for, their own self-preservation, and that's bringing these types of resets for this context, we can't fall asleep at the wheel because we are still major stake players into the global field, and we got to do what we have to do in order to protect our reputation, making sure that we have the infrastructure in place, making sure that we have the legislation in place that doesn't make us fall asleep or become less attractive, leading to persons looking at other places to actually conduct their financial services with. And like I said at the beginning, RCI currency is pegged to the US dollar. Yes. That peg is not random. No, it's not. Because one Cayman dollar is $1.20 US. It's not random and it's not fragile. Based on the research and the digging that I've done, it's not easily shaken either, despite everything that's going on. It's one right now of the strongest anchors that we're seeing. That stability that we have right now is that very peg that has been locked in. And you may ask, well, why does pegging a particular currency to the US dollar without better context and not commodities? Let's stick to why the peg matters. That has been established and has held us stable. Obviously, based on all the financial reports that are coming out, we're still one of the highest attracted jurisdictions right now for persons to do business with. Until those results or reports say otherwise, we're still attracting persons wanting to conduct financial services here. And this is why pegging matters, because it protects us from wild currency swings. We see what happens in other jurisdictions within the region. It keeps us more imports predictable as well with that type of stability. And it stabilizes somewhat, despite us importing inflation, despite whatever it is with cost of living. If you're seeing the uptick and the trend where cost of living is concerned, it's because of everything, inflationary costs that are happening throughout the world. And because we do not manufacture anything, it still is stable on the grander scheme of things, despite it being higher. It comes with the environment that the world right now is feeling in. Because I was like, this is controversial. What do you mean? It stabilizes our cost of living when it continues to skyrocket. That's factual. It's continuing to skyrocket because of what we're seeing happening geopolitically, what's happening around the world, shortages, global supplies, the blockade of the Strait of Hormuz, what's happening, but it's still stable in relativity of what's happening in the bigger circle, okay? Once you see that cooling, we see a cooling happens, even though it may be a little delayed. The fact is, it's still, this peg still gives us a level of stability. And the markets do show it. It gives investors confidence. And that is why all of the reports are coming out saying the Cayman Islands is still a destination of choice when it comes to financial services. Yes. And that stability, my friends, ties us to one of the world's, being pegged to the US currency, ties us to one of the world's most major reserve currencies. Yeah, just being pegged to the US currency at that locked in rate. So if the world resets, what I'm seeing in a synopsis format, Cayman doesn't float away. No, we move with the US dollar, but in a controlled, predictable way because of the mechanisms that is built in. The peg is not something that, or being pegged, it is not something, how I can describe this now. It is not something that disappears overnight. You're not going to wake up and, oh my God, this is happening. No. It's phased. It's protected by policy, by regulations, by decades and decades of financial credibility. And this is why you see all of those persons who are, based on all of the job postings on WORC, some of the big things are forecasters, economists, mathematicians. Why? Because we are a financial jurisdiction. Forecasting is pivotal when you're into this line of business, and being abreast of global trends where stability is concerned is also huge. We see our very own home, the Cayman Islands, is home to thousands of hedge funds, major international banks as well, world-class compliance framework, global investments and structures, and a reputation for stability and definitely transparency. Some are even saying too much, but still, our records, data speaks for itself. So in regards to this reset, there are certain things that are built in to protect us, which would be silly of us to not act quickly, to not go ahead and get the necessary networkings when our financial officers and people go away and our ministers go away to see what's happening and take their entourage or people. Yeah, that's why they're doing it. Because you think the BRICS, China, India, all of them are worried what we're doing over here? They're arranging for themselves over there. Yes, the UK is there and they will speak for us. But at the end of the day, there's a lot of groundwork here in the Cayman Islands that needs to be done as well. And every dime spent, every wastage will be felt should we have to tighten our belts. And this is why, with everything that's happening on a global scale, with the reset, when you're hearing these terms being used, when you look at what's happening with CARICOM jurisdiction, where they're galvanizing, they're coming together as one to try and lower the cost of living. It's not that, oh, we're BOTC, we're good. If anything, UK would bail us out. No, they're just certain housekeeping that has to be done locally that we're responsible for every person in this country for. And we don't want to necessarily make the same mistakes other jurisdiction with less protections. We may be in a good position. Yes, we are in comparison. So any serious and adverse resets globally, one currency I think Andrew mentioned here, if we pretty much protect and manage what we have based on certain constitutional frameworks that we have in, the mere fact that we're a British overseas territory jurisdiction, amongst some to speak about. And there are other stuff from the financial perspective too, that with legislation, policies, different safeguards, and maintaining a good national, international credit rating, incomes from that will benefit our people. But it doesn't mean that we don't have our own individual responsibilities as well. Yeah, because the shock waves that happens will have ripple effects with us as well. And little do you know, the UK connection, there is some protection with that. Yes. That protection means just being a BOTC means that we're not standing alone in all this. Despite them having some serious issues, it does not take away, that's their local politics. It doesn't take away that still gives us a form of protection. UK diplomatic support, UK crisis coordination, UK regulatory alignment, international credibility, and constitutional stability, whether or not you felt aggrieved that we didn't write the Constitution, that it was pushed on us. In these conversations, it's good to know certain fundamentals are there to protect us. If the world resets right now, I can assure you, the other countries in talks, they would be aware. Financial industry would be aware. All industry sectors will know because it is a domino effect. But if the world resets, Cayman will not be scrambling by ourselves. No, we wouldn't be like some of the independent regional brothers and sisters who are building their partnerships, forging stronger relationships through CARICOM. In our case, we wouldn't be scrambling by ourselves. We have the backing of a major global power. And that matters. That matters. It matters for our currency, it matters for our financial sector, and it matters for our international reputations and relationships as well. Yes. Stability in itself in writing, you heard me talk about. That, my friends, is built into our Constitution, which is not a document in this case. For this particular subject, like so many other topics that we have brought here, this is a shield, because what that Constitution says in the event of a reset is that it guarantees the continuity of government, it guarantees protection of property and rights, it guarantees the right of law, it guarantees financial regulatory stability. It's all enshrined in our Constitution, and it guarantees clear governance structures that must be in accordance with it. And this is why you heard the caller say, for the lack of knowledge, our people shall perish. You don't understand the importance of documents like that, what section is applicable, that in the event of a reset, this is what the Constitution says, this is what this part of the law says, this is what that piece of legislation says that protects us on the grander scheme of things. Because in the event of global uncertainty, countries, we have seen it. Venezuela, reset. Remember, at one point in time, we were seeing images coming out of Venezuela with money blowing on the street. It had no value whatsoever. Bless their heart. We're seeing what's happening with Cuba. Again, bless their heart. In global uncertainties, countries themselves with weak governance struggle. As much as you may hate to hear this, people are hurting, I agree. But on the wider scheme of things, Cayman does not. Cayman does not. And I know some of you are saying, you're talking foolishness, because I'm struggling right now to pay my rent. I'm struggling now to own a home. I'm struggling now to keep the lights on, food on my table. I'm not speaking granular for this context. I'm speaking on a wider scheme of things, because even though you are in, picture a circle, and what you're talking about right now is you being a dot in the middle, but all of what I'm talking about is the outer circle that is protecting you. And we're not telling you that there isn't issues going on within the circle, i.e., what you're individually going through, what your constituencies' needs are, what your personal financial situations. At the end of the day, the Cayman Islands, our financial sector, and all the sectors that plays in to giving you the ability, the quality of life to live within the circle. We're not telling you that there isn't problems. But if you see the outer circle is breached because of weak governance, poor legislation, and other things that really will make that outer circle become compromised and it leaks, Houston, that's where we have a problem. Right now, based on all of the results that we have are coming in from the financial sector and all of that sort of stuff, the outer circle for the context of this explanation remains solid. And this is why we have people coming from other countries wanting to come into the circle, into the financial, do business, want to start business, want to work here, want to do a creative life, because the outer circle remains solid, remains stable. And in global uncertainty, countries with weak governance, unlike us, struggle. That is not us. And you heard what the caller say. We have to fight to make sure that we hold our people and each other accountable, because it's just not the elected arm. Every citizen has a responsibility. And one of the biggest things you can do for yourself is enlighten yourself with the bigger picture. Be informed, get educated. You don't have to have the right questions. You don't even have to have it in its granular details to work out these formulas and all that sort of stuff. But just have some semblance where if you see something kind of wobbling, you can identify, hey, this doesn't feel right, but hold on. Just let me look at that a little closer. Knowledge, my friends, are power. In understanding it on the grander scheme of things, which is why I use that circle as an example. And the actual circle is all the good governance that protects this country from legislation to stability in the Constitution to our elected arm being strong at the end of the day. Let me tell you something. As long as we can keep that tight, we on the inside of the circle can come together with our nonprofit organizations. We call our friends, we call our families, we put our 1-2 cocoa into basket, and we continue to spend inside the circle, if this is where you choose to be home, and let the bigger boys deal with keeping the outer circle locked tight. That's how we survive. Because we have structure here, we have order, we have stability written in our Constitution, but we also have order when it comes to our people fighting and saying, we want immigration reform. We don't have no problem with you being here. Behave yourself, respect our culture, honor our laws, have people with everything benefit. What we are doing right now as a country is that we are fighting with our dear life to keep that outer circle from becoming fractured because of what's happening everywhere else in the world, and for our context, outside the circle. And this is why it's important that we have these type of conversations. This is why it is so important that we continue to unify. Inside the circles, you see a job opportunity, you see a business opportunity, go to your elected arm and say, look, can we try here? Because we know you're busy keeping that outer circle intact. But hey, man, we got some people that are really hurting. What can you do on a temporary measure to just keep it? We know you got your hands full up there, but show me the way, show me the path, how I can get this person that they don't have to be struggling, that they can get the job. What do we have to change in the human resources environment that our people can feel as though we are valued, that we have a purpose on the inside of the circle? Because what I see happening out there, we ain't ready to change that because we don't want the outside circle to be fractured. So when resets happen, we will thank God for certain things that we have so that that bubble, that circle is not compromised. But things, we are on a better footing than a lot of us give each other credit for. And sometimes I hear some comments being made, and it's because we just don't really understand. I don't get angry. I do not insult people. I become very quiet. I listen. And for those who are willing to give me 2 or 3 minutes to put it and understand their context, with what I've been doing, I have been speaking and informing, and you'd be surprised how embracing people are when you give them from another context. Sometimes you pull it up on a link or you share a link to let them understand. And it is amazing the reception people get. It's amazing the feedback that they get and the gratitude that they are, because they're like, oh, now it makes sense. So if you're able now to put it all together, our currency being pegged, the financial sector, our British Overseas Territories status, our Constitution in itself, you see something much clearer. Cayman, in its all honesty, is not at the mercy of global chaos. We are not. To say that we are not susceptible to fractures? Of course we are. Yes, we are. But we are blessed to be in a position that we are protected and we are still, comparison to other people in other regions, we are still can be labeled as stable and attractive. We are not a leaf blowing in the wind, that hoping that our neighbor ties in, or you need this vote for this CARICOM meeting or that meeting. If I don't get that one buy-in, boy, I don't know how I'm going to feed my nation. I don't know how I'm going to keep the lights on. We're not like that. But the mere fact that we're an associated member, it's good to know what's happening. And the best thing in life is to know. And that is why I applaud my friends and former colleagues, some of them, for having a presence right now at a lot of these CARICOM meetings. No long should we be not present at any of these meetings. As minuscule as they may appear, the mere fact that we're still BOTCs, the best thing in life is to know our brothers and sisters in Bermuda, they're constantly showing up. They're constantly showing up, and they're in tune. They're very pleased with their advancements that we have made over here, and that speaks a lot. We have set the bar so high for other jurisdictions that so-called got their act together. Even sometimes our mother country is almost a little envious of us, not only for the weather. Where is Harry? Wonder where is Harry? Not only for the weather, for a lot of things. And it's because we have fought so hard with legislation, good governance, holding each other accountable, and making sure that we protect the outer circle. And let's deal with our crap on the inside. And that is why you should not become too ignorant or angry or upset because you cannot see beyond your immediate thing. You have to be able to look at the bigger and grander scheme of things. And I know that's hard to put into perspective when you're dealing with thousands of individuals, because you're only able to see in your particular position. But I'm hoping that I was able to provide some sort of glimpse into the realities of what this is, and that you will understand that we're not at the mercies of global chaos. And we're not definitely a leaf blowing in the wind. We are an anchor to the region, and that has been touted by many. We are sometimes the envy of the region, but it doesn't make us immune if we get it wrong and we don't keep the lines of communication open with our people who are within the circle. If we do not make sure that we take care, charity begins at home with your people, and it starts with civics. It starts with education. It starts with having a lot of these. Some of you saying, oh God, Sabrina, I fall asleep sometimes, but then you say something and I wake up. To some, it may be boring. To others, it would be like, whoa, the woman making sense. I just understanding what she's saying. It's okay. The good thing I like it is that you can always go back on YouTube, because on Facebook, unless you download a particular episode, it disappears after 30 days. That's Facebook's policy. But on YouTube, it's always there. It's always there. So that's my little take on this reset. We could have gone into some more like what ifs, what could cause it, how would the first 72 hours look, and all that sort of stuff, because I really did a deep dive in this. I'm telling you, I was doing this for almost a month for what it's looking like, only because I see what it is. Some of you are saying, you know, at the end of the day, if it does happen, what would it look like? Would it be chaos? What would happen to my ATM? Everything is digital. You would hear so much communication from people like SEMA or government in collaboration with them. Yeah, that's our Cayman Islands Monetary Authority, our financial regulator. They will be issuing statements in collaboration with our leaders or government to reassure the public. Yeah, because they stabilize the markets and they coordinate with banks. So you would see all of those things. Then, you know, debit cards continue working. Oh my God, we're going to shut down. And no, we should never, ever be thinking about those things from a panic perspective. But it's good that we're able to have this conversation, unpack it, and just bring it to the forefront so that when you hear certain terms, you slow down and you don't just buy into it, just jump in, because it's not going to happen like, lockdown, bang, everything freezes. You will move when I tell you to move. No. Being able to identify the realities is key. And that's where you then can prepare your own household. It is now 7:00, top of the hour. I refuse to go into overtime because, the owner of this station could soon charge me for overtime. It has been a pleasure bringing you another episode of Sabrina Speaks. I know some of these topics are hard hitting, but based on the feedback, I understand and I get that you appreciate them. I'm not a teacher, I'm not a professor, and I'm definitely not an expert in any of this. I'm just doing my best at delivering it to you in layman's terms. And of course, I welcome your feedback, even post-show, 936-8255. You can WhatsApp or you can send me an email, Sabrina Speaks, the number 12 @gmail.com. Should you have an episode or if you'd like something for me to dive into a little bit more deeper, I welcome your feedback. Please do have a good evening. Be safe on the roads, and to our fine men and women in the uniform service and our frontline staff, thank you for your service. Until tomorrow, good night. Stay blessed, stay safe. Love you lots. Until tomorrow.
That's a wrap for today's edition of Sabrina Speaks. Thank you for tuning in and for being part of the conversation. Remember, the dialogue doesn't stop here. Stay engaged, stay informed, and most importantly, stay empowered. We'll be back tomorrow at 5 p.m., same time, same place, right here on CMR TV and radio, where your voice matters and your truth is heard. Until then, Cayman, take care of yourself and each other.
That's it for today's edition of Sabrina Speaks, where your voice matters, your story counts, and your truth is always welcome. Join us weekdays from 5 until 6:30 p.m. right here on CMR TV as we dive into the topics that matter most to you. Catch the show live or on demand at cmrtv.com. And don't forget to follow us on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram so you never miss a moment. Until next time, stay informed, stay engaged, and always speak your truth.